What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 39th HTML5 tutorial, and in this lesson what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with text and shadows, two awesome things that we can do on the canvas in HTML5. So in order to add text, what we need to do is we need to access the font function. Now what this does is it's basically not a function but a property, and if this looks familiar what I'm about to type, it's because we learned all of this stuff whenever we were working with CSS3. It takes all of the same properties. Just put bold, 36 pixels, and whatever font you want, like Tahoma. You love Tahoma. Gotta love Tahoma. So now what you do is, now whenever you write font on your canvas, this is the style of the font. And I'm actually going to change that to 36 because for some reason, whenever I'm working with font, I don't like odd numbers. I like even numbers. So another thing that we can do is we can put canvas text align, and we can write something like end right here. Now this basically aligns your text to whenever you make your text later on, you can give it an ending position. So let me go ahead and write this next line of code, and then I can explain everything. Very simple. So canvas in fill text. Now I want to mention this. You can make stroke text, which basically takes the text and makes an outline of it, and you can also make fill text. Now fill text is just a text that you're familiar with already. It's a text that's filled in. So let me go ahead and this takes two parameters. Well, actually it takes three parameters, but it takes what text you want to be, and I'll just put OMG WTF barbecue. That is what text is going to appear drawn on the screen. And now I said the second parameter, which is the position, but it's technically two more parameters, X and Y position. So I'll just stick this at 300 and 100. So let me go ahead and save this and refresh it and check it out. Like I said, this is fill text, basically just plain text with a solid color. And let me go ahead and write stroke real quick and show you guys the difference. It's basically the outline of the text. So that's the difference, two different styles of text, fill text and stroke text. So let me go ahead and change back to fill because now I want to talk to you guys about shadows. And if you add a shadow to stroke text, it actually looks kind of weird because you can kind of see through the text, and you don't want that. So anyways, moving on, let me go ahead and show you guys how to draw a shadow. Now, you want to draw your shadow before you draw your text because remember, computer programs work from the top down. So if you draw your text and then you say, okay, and then I want a shadow, it's going to say, too late, buddy. You already drew the text. I'm done with that crap. So let's go ahead and on the canvas, go ahead and I'm going to show you guys all the properties you can work with shadows. Shadow, offset, X. And what this is going to do is how far, because you don't want your shadow directly under your text. You want it kind of slid over and down a little bit. So how much of an offset do you want? Well, just make it 4 pixels, right like that. And actually, that's not how you do it. What am I doing? You put 4 pixels just like that because offset X is a property. So if that confuses you guys, that's why, whenever it's a property, then you set it equal to a value. Whenever it's a function, then a function can take parameters. So maybe I should have explained that like in the first tutorial, but hey, it's better late than never. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add an offset of Y. So this is whenever we set our shadow, it's going to be shifted to the right a little bit, which is 4 pixels, and it's going to be shifted down a little bit, 4 pixels. So that's what shadow offset X and Y means. So now what I'm going to do is copy this canvas because I'm way too lazy to type it. And the next property we want to work with is shadow blur. Not blue, blur. Maybe we'll make the shadow blue, who knows. So what the shadow blur is, a shadow isn't just an exact duplicate of your shape copied to the right and down a little bit. It has kind of a blur. If you ever walk outside and you see your shadow on the ground, it isn't like a perfect silhouette that looks like someone just painted it. It's kind of blurry on the edges. So how much of a blur do we want to use? Well, let's go ahead and put 6 right there because I happen to know that 6 looks pretty good. But depending on what you're doing, what kind of website you're making, there's like no set value that's like, okay, this is a good value, this is a bad value. It depends on how big your shape is and just what kind of look you're going for. So for now, I'm just going to add a blur of 6. And now, canvas shadow color. Now, even though when you walk outside, your shadow is always the same color, kind of like a dark kind of like a light black, I guess. Well, in HTML5, not the case because, we can make shadows red, green, blue if we want. How awesome would that be if you could go outside and you can make your shadow red for the day? Pretty effing sweet. But now, since we accidentally typed shadow blue in here, let's go ahead and just make the shadow blue because, hey, must be fate, right? So RGBA, it has four values. The first value is the red, green, and blue. I said the first value is the red, green, and blue, but that's really the first three values. Now, if we want to make a blue shadow, what we need to do is red is 0, green is 0, blue, let's just go ahead and pump this up to 255, which is the maximum amount we can have for blue. Now this A right here is the alpha, or the transparency. If we have 1, then it's going to be totally opaque, not transparent at all. So let's go ahead and give it 0.5, which means that the shadow is going to be kind of see-through. So let me go ahead and save this and refresh it and see what we got. We got a nice blue semi-transparent shadow. Now again, check it out. It kind of fades off and it's moved slightly to the right and down a little bit. So it has an offset X of Y and an offset Y, or excuse me, well, you can see. Anyways, what these two lines of code mean right now is it's shifted over and down 4 pixels each. Now when we gave it a blur of 6, that just means that the blurriness level, which whatever they decided the blurriness level was 6. If we bumped it up to like 16 or something like that, let's go ahead and check it out. Now it's really blurry, so blurry that you can hardly even tell there's a shadow there. So just keep that in mind whenever you're designing websites. And last but not least, what we did is we made it blue and gave it an alpha value of 0.5, which made it semi-transparent. So with all that, we learned how to add text on the screen and also how to add a shadow too. And this shadow doesn't only apply to text, but any shape that you want to make. And remember, if you want to make a different shape with a different shadow, then you need to set all these properties again. So from this point forward, any shape you draw, it's going to have this shadow on it. So if you're getting, coming across that problem, that's why. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.